We are doing this text, Anubhuti Prakasha. This is a beautiful text by Swami Vidyaranya, and he's teaching us Mundaka Upanishad. We have already covered Mundaka Upanishad with the highlights. In these 100 verses, we are going to go into some of the salient features of Mundaka Upanishad. What we are learning is extremely important for us because I want to know the nature of this world which I'm experiencing, and I'm also want to know who am I. These are the questions which are answered by Upanishads. There is no other pramanam, there is no other source of knowledge to understand this topic. In Vedanta, Shankaracharya teaches us that the highest principle, which is God, cannot be seen by the eyes. It cannot be heard. It cannot be grasped by the hands. But it exists. Normally, we think God is with form because our intellect is still not ready. Our intellect is gross intellect, which knows the gross world of objects. Initially, a seeker starts with Dvaita Bhakti. I pray to God because I am limited and God is the creator who is limitless. That is the starting point for all of us, which is called as Dvaita Bhakti. From there, one becomes a Jignasu Bhakti. Jignasu means a person wants to know the real nature of God. He wants to experience God in his own self. That is where the seeker is born. When a person wants to realize that God in his own nature, it will not be in the form of a body because body is limited. Therefore, now the student is ready because his mind is got the qualities which are required to learn the higher knowledge, which is called as para prakriti. The Upanishad clearly says that all the preparations required to acquire this knowledge is called as apara prakriti. Apara prakriti means lower knowledge. It is important to gather that lower knowledge, prepare my mind, make my mind single pointed, focused, ready to receive the Paravidya. This is how Swami Vidyaranya describes what is Paravidya, what is Aparavidya. Normally, we say that the objective knowledge is called as Aparavidya. Anything to do with the world. Worldly knowledge is Aparavidya. And anything to do with the subject is Paravidya. But Vidyaranya goes a little bit sharper. And he redefines Aparavidya as all the preparations required for Atmajnanam. This is the beauty of Swami Vidyaranya. He gives us greater insights into revelations of the Upanishads. We stopped with verse number 11 last week, and that is the first verse which talks about Paravidya. Paravidya is the knowledge of the reality. Why do I call it as reality? Because it is not the individual, it is not the total. Individual is called as Jiva, the total is called as Paramatma. Jivatma, Paramatma. At the worldly level. But then we are talking about something which is the cause of this world. The cause of this world is not Jivatma or Paramatma, something which is beyond both. Therefore, we call it as reality. Reality means it is existing all the time. All the time. It is beyond time. It is the substratum on which this whole Jagat is coming, and the whole Jagat is going into unmanifest condition. This reality is called as Aksharam, immutable. Here Vidyaranya is asking, what is immutable? What is the nature when you say something is imperishable? What is its nature? So he says, he explains himself and he says, that which cannot be comprehended by the sense organs, which are the 5 sense organs, and that which cannot be held by the organs of action, is called as Aksharam. See how beautiful way he describes Aksharam. So what do I understand now? When he says that it cannot be grasped by sense organs, the first thing you should understand is it is not a vritti jnanam. This is how Shankaracharya explains in his bhashya of this verse. What cannot be comprehended by sense organs means it is not a vritti jnana. Vritti jnana means it has got to do with the mind. The mind is the powerhouse for the 5 sense organs. That power is called as vritti, jnanam. That mind gets that power because of Chaitanya, pure consciousness, Brahman. So, this reality is not vritti jnanam. Vritti jnanam is the field kshetram of the 5 sense organs. Form and color, sound, touch, taste, these are all smell, these are all the vrittis, the thoughts which the sense organs, when they are able to perceive this, they take vrittis into the mind as impulses, and the mind understands this is hot, this is cold, this is fragrant, this is odorless, this is a red color. All these are all impulses in the mind. So Shankaracharya goes one step deeper. Anything which is not a vritti jnanam, it cannot be cognized by the sense organs, is this imperishable. We are in this particular mantra, the revelation is done by a method called as neti neti. It is not this. It is not drishyam. It is not grahyam. It cannot be held. It cannot be seen. Seen refers to all the five sense organs. So it is not an external object which it is not an external object which can be seen. So it is something unique. It is not material in nature. It is the spiritual principle. It is the light of knowledge. That is how the Upanishads describe this. Then, so this is, now we are studying this Aksharam. How Aksharam is defined as not drishyam, not held by the organs of action. Last week we stopped with this slide where, so I have explained to you what is adrishyam, agrahyam, and what is this real and unreal. According to Veda, this Brahman is the only reality in the universe. Reality means it is there in three periods of time, changeless in nature, formless, soundless, but it is there. Don't deny this, because that is your nature. If you deny that nature, you yourself do not exist. So, first accept that there is something which is the invisible in nature. It exists. We will, if you accept this, then you can move forward. If you say, no, I don't accept anything, there's nothing the sense organs cannot see, therefore I don't accept. If you say like that, then you are losing. You're not going forward. And what is unreal? Unreal is whatever I am experiencing, the objects. This is technical definition of Vedanta's real and unreal. Don't confuse that with the Laukika, worldly, real and unreal in the worldly sense. This is technical. What we normally use in our Laukika, worldly language. Oh, is it real or unreal? That is different. Don't get confused between the two. Keno Upanishad says, Yan manasana manute ye nam pur mano matam tadeva brahma tam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. What one cannot feel with the help of the mind, that by which the mind feels, know that to be Brahman. That means the powerhouse called the mind, which is the main instrument we use throughout our life. That is what is the reality. Kenopanishad says it is not what people worship here. It is not the Devi, it is not the Rama, Krishna, and Shiva, and Vishnu, and all that. Don't get confused. These are good as a starting point, but it is not the ultimate truth. You are a seeker, you are a jignasu, a seeker of knowledge. So, what is reality? Imperceptible, ungraspable, adreshyam, abhigneyam. And abhigneyam means cannot be grasped by the intellect. Agrahya means cannot be held by the hands or the legs. Karma indriya hi na grahyam. It cannot be grasped both by the organs of knowledge and action. For example, Anjaneya embraces Rama because wants to say that I am one with you. There is no other way to express this. Reality cannot be touched, it cannot be embraced, but you can know it in your intellect. I am that reality which Lord Rama is. Brahadanika Upanishad also says in this mantra, which is there in the first chapter of Brahadanika Upanishad, it says this Brahman is a cause of fear as well as a cause of fearlessness. Both. Taittiriya Upanishad explains why it is cause of fear, why it is cause of fearlessness. This Brahman, because everybody is afraid of something. Oh, I know there is somebody behind who is looking at me. There is some God principle. So for Ajnani, it is Brahman is a cause of fear. Ajnani means a person who doesn't know the Shastra, who is just a Laukika person. But the same Brahman becomes a cause of fearlessness for a Jnani. This is a greater virtue of a Jnani. How does he become fearless? Suppose you want to become fearless. I don't want to fear death. Learn the Veda, understand your nature, that the nature of Brahman is Advaitam. Everything in the universe goes back to this imperishable Brahman. Aksharam Brahma. Very, very beautiful word, Aksharam Brahma. The whole 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is based on this one word, Aksharam. Very, very beautiful. It can be used for meditation. These are the words which can be used for meditation. This entire mantra, which we are now studying from Mundaka Upanishad, is a verse for Vedantic meditation. So, for a Jignasu Bhakta, Advaita teaching is given. For a normal Bhakta, who is a Dvaita Bhakta, he is taught Karma Kanda. Pray to God, he will give you all the benefits. It is Dvaita Bhaktam. God is different, I am different. But the teaching of Upanishad is for Jignasu Bhakta, one grade higher. Next mantra, number 12. You see, there are 12 indicators given in that mantra of Upanishad, and out of that mantra, 12 indicators. Swami Vidyaranya takes, for one mantra he takes 7 verses. You see, that's the beauty of Swami Vidyaranya. You know, sometimes he goes and analyzes in a very, very big detail. Okay, in this mantra he says Agotram. He is trying to define 3 things. Number 1, so we have finished Aksharam, we have finished Adreshyam, and now 2 things we have seen before. Now 3 are here. 3 plus 2, 5 will be finishing. Agotram. What is the meaning of Agotram? Agotram means lineage. All of you, if you ask your father or your grandfather, what is my Gotram? He will tell you because he knows it. Each one of us, if you are from India, you will know. It is only means that I am born in this lineage of a particular rishi. In the olden days, in the Vedic time, there were rishis. Great rishis. Rishi means a seer of truth. And if we are coming, that means the rishis were married, and they, even though they were rishis, they saw the truth, they were married, the children got the knowledge, their children got the knowledge, and that is how the lineage flows. Kashyapa Rishi, that is the lineage. Harida Gotram, these are all different Gotrams. Okay, so just Gotram means our previous forefathers, what were they related to, which Rishi they were related to. Gotram also means cause. Shankaracharya defines like this. Gotram, Agotram means it is causeless, birthless. Anything with Gotram means it is got, it will perish. But something which is not got a cause, the ultimate cause of the universe has to be causeless, because that is why you call it ultimate, absolute. And what is the next thing it says? Achakshu shotram apani padam. Avarnam. Avarnam means what? Varnam usually means color. But Shankaracharya takes here the property of attribute. Varna can have two meanings. One is color. The second is attribute, property. So this Brahman is propertyless. I'm explaining to you just the word meaning. It does not possess colors like whiteness and so on. Therefore, the sense of it is not grasped by the sense organs. Suppose something has got attributes like color, like smell, like feel of hot and cold. Then the sense organs like the skin can touch and feel it. If it has got this odor, then jasmine odor, rose, different flowers are there. So if it has got this odor, maybe I can recognize, but this Brahman has got no attributes. How to describe it? This is the only method. Neti, neti. It is not this, it is not this, it is not this. And whatever you are able to come in the end and realize, that is the nature. See how beautifully the Veda is describing something words cannot describe. So Agotram is clear. Surya Vamshi, Chandra Vamshi, these are all different Gotras. Kashyapa Gotra. Whenever somebody says Abhivadya, Abhivadya means after you put the thread ceremony, the teacher, the guru who puts the thread ceremony, he will teach you how to introduce yourself to the elders in the future. Where you mention your Gotra. Or you go to a temple, the temple priest will ask you which Gotram, which Nakshatram you belong to. A Gotra means it is none of this. Varna, I told you, is like a complexion, color. It is not dark, it is not fair. Krishna Gati, Krishna Varnam. Krishna means dark, Shukla means white, fair. Na jnana indriyam mastasya. It is not a possessor of sense organ. You see, normally we think that you can know only when you have sense organs. But Shankaracharya in his commentary of this particular mantra says, Brahman doesn't have sense organs, but still he knows. It is sarvajnaha. It is of the nature of consciousness. Na api karma indriyam. Karma indriyam means organs of action. It doesn't have legs, it doesn't have hands, but can such a Brahman exist? Now, if you want to know that Brahman exists, you must have preparation for that. The preparation is for the mind. That is what is called as sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, which is called as shraddha, titiksha. These are all the qualities of a seeker. You have to develop these qualities. You may not have it immediately, but have the most important quality is shraddha. Shraddha means faith in the scriptures. I don't experience Brahman today, but I will still study the Upanishads so that one day in future, this will be revealed to me. The same, it will be through the grace of this Atma, it will reveal its nature to you. The 13th verse, Nityaha. Nityam is another adjective used to describe Brahman. The moment Nitya comes, you must remember, Nitya means it is timeless. Anything which is timeless is eternal. So if I am timeless, I am eternal, which means what? I am immortal. The word I there stands for Brahman. It does not stand for the body. I am Malati. I am Mahesh. I am Rama. I am Krishna. All these are all the body, name given to a form. That is what is Laukika explanation of the word I. But Brahman, I am Brahman, is the Lakshyartha. This Brahman is eternal, as it cannot have any destruction. And nobody can prove its destruction. Why? Because nobody sees its destruction. If I see a pot is broken, I know that the pot can be broken and a pot can be produced because my eyes are seeing it. But eyes are not used, cannot be used to see Brahman. Therefore, it is eternal. Then it is Sarvajnaha. Vibhum. Vibhum means all pervasive. Why is it all pervasive? Because it is limitless. Why is it limitless? Because it is formless, like Akasha, like space. That is how you describe one by one these qualities or attributes of Brahman. Nityam, because it is Karanam. Gold is the Karanam for the ring, bangle, and chain. The chain can get formless. It can change its form. But gold will ever remain as gold. Similarly, my body and mind can be destroyed, but consciousness, which is the cause of the body, because of which only I see this body existing today, because of which only I can see the hands are moving, the legs are moving. That by which I see the hands moving, the legs moving is consciousness, which has no death, which has no birth. And all of us are that consciousness is the teaching. Right in this class, in this session, when you go through these words of Upanishads, you can realize your nature. But a keen, focused, concentrated teaching, listening skill is required. Nityam will always remain because it is Karanam. What about Anityam? Anything which the sense organs see is Anityam. Anityam is a product. it is karyam. These are technical words. Through the technical words, when I follow Upanishads, I will realize that pure nature of mind. Ekasara nitya satyam. Gold was there before the bangle was created. When the bangle was existing, it was gold. When the bangle resolves, it is gold. Bangle, chain, ring are relatively nitya. It exists for a few years. After 50 years, when you want to change the chain, it becomes anitya. But what is nityam? Karanam. So karanam is nityam, karyam is anityam. That is the logic we should follow. So before Big Bang, what was there? Science does not have an answer. Veda has an answer. Before Big Bang, the karanam was there. What is the nature of karanam? Satyam, jnanam, anantam. Aksharam. Achakshushrotram. That is the nature of karanam, nityam. That is how Veda explains the existence of this entire universe. If karanam is non-existent, then karyam cannot exist. That is the rule. If the cause is not there, there is no effect. If the father and mother are not there, there is no child. If my parents didn't have their parents, I will not have been born. But how do I know that grandparents existed? Because I am the karyam. Through the karyam, I can infer the karanam. Through this world, when I look at the world, anytime, whenever I'm experiencing the world, my intellect should say, there is a karanam. That karanam is aksharam. See how beautiful. The moment you study Upanishads in a very systematic way, the intellect will follow the truth very easily. And you can realize, I am that pure consciousness, the reality. Don't forget that is the ultimate message. Avinasha. Avinasha means it is not perishable. This Brahman is Avinasha. It has got no nasha, no death. Vibhum. It appears in manifold forms. Vividam bhati iti vibhuhu. Vividam bhati. It appears like in the dream. So many things appear. All what one waker's mind has projected all the waking world. One consciousness, Brahman, projects this waking world. The whole waking world goes back to that consciousness. Like the whole dream world goes back to the waker's mind, I am that consciousness which is Vibhum. If you know that this is the nature of Brahman, you will never ask, how come there is so much of variety in the world? So many different plants are there, so many animals are there, so many stars are there. So, variety is there in every category of the world. But remember, the karanam for all this is ekam. The material cause presents as manifold products. The material cause, one clay is the material cause for all types of pots. Pot of 5 liters, pot of 500 liters. blue pot, red pot, green pot. All the variety is one clay. Similarly, all the world we see is one consciousness. All furniture is one wood. All ornaments are one gold. The whole cosmos with 100 billion galaxies, each galaxy with billion stars, each star with hundreds of planets, and each planet there are billions of people, living beings. That is what is Brahman. One Brahman. All one Brahman appearing, manifesting as different names and forms. It is the reflection, like we have studied the spark. All of us are sparks of that Brahman. You are able to think, you are able to perceive, you are able to see color, you are able to hear this talk because of that spark in you. That spark is called as Brahman. Sarvatmakatvat bhavaha. Very, very important for realizing the truth. Sarvatma. It is the Atma of all the beings. Not only beings, it is the Atma of all the inert objects also. But an atheist will say there is no Atma. He will have the ring with him and says there is no gold. Nityam, Vibhuhu, these are all indicators of that truth. You learn this mantra of Mundaka Upanishad by heart, then you will have no difficulty at any time to practice meditation. This is like in Mandukya Upanishad, or each Upanishad, I will tell you which mantra to by heart, which mantra to at least write down. If not by heart, write down in a small book. I told you right in the beginning, take one small book and write down important things which you want to remember. So that at any time you just reflect on that and use this book only for reflection. I want to know who I am. Take this book, go through the meaning, write down in your own words the meaning, so that you remember it when you want it. And it will be a very great help. That will be the ultimate success of this spiritual study. 14th verse. Akashavat sarvagopta parichedo na deshataha. It is all pervading. Sarvagataha. See, these are all Sanskrit words, but it has got very deep meaning. Space is limitless. Consciousness is the cause of space. Taittiriya Upanishad clearly says space is created. It is an effect. It is a product. It will go into unmanifest condition. Again, it will come to manifest condition. Again, it will go to unmanifest. It will come to manifest. But what is the cause? Brahman. Because it is the cause of space, space has got one attribute. What is that attribute? Sound. The Prithvi has how many attributes? 5 attributes. Space has one attribute. In between, you will find the other 4. Because it is spaceless, it is timeless. Because space and time come together. It is not conditioned by time. It is eternal. See how? Because it is all pervading, it is eternal. If it is eternal, it is immortal. This is the logic. This is the step-by-step Vedic logic, Upanishadic logic. Don't use Laukika knowledge. This is Vedic knowledge, Vedic logic. If you use the Vedic logic, it will be very useful to you to understand and arrive. You see, many people, they study Upanishad, but they don't arrive at the final truth. That is a problem. Remember, you have to arrive at the final truth in your own intellect, Guhaya, and say, I am that pure consciousness. The day you tell yourself, I am pure consciousness, I am Satyaha, I am always there, I am timeless, I am immortal, I am not this body or mind which is changing. The day you say to yourself with full conviction, your study of Upanishad has given you that benefit of fulfillment in life. There is nothing in the universe which will make you fulfilled completely. Purnaha. Nothing. The Veda is very clear. Taittiriya Upanishad tells you where is that Ananda you're looking for. Where is that happiness? In Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a 8th Anuvaka. There's one full section with about 10 mantras, which says, this is where you search happiness in the world. This is where. And this is where you don't search for happiness. That happiness, what I enjoy in the world is experiential happiness. But if I want to know the real happiness, Nitya Ananda, it is in Brahman. So it is timeless, spaceless, and limitless. Therefore, it is called as Sarvagataha, Nityaha, and Anantaha. These are the 3 words which are used for explaining the nature of Brahman. Nityam Vibhum. Here the word used for all pervading is Vibhum. Sarvagatam. Anantam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. These are all words used in Taittiriya Upanishad. And you are firm. You are very, very clear in your intellect. This is what it is. And the easiest way, I always give you the tip. How do I realize this Satyam Jnanam Anantam? Wake up from your sleep state and ask the question, who am I? You will not be able to do it in the sleep state, but you can do it in the waking state. In the waking state, ask the question, who am I in the sleep state? That I is what is Aksharam, Brahma. With that as the reference point, if you apply all these indicators, your intellect will say 100 out of 100. Everything fits. Not the body, which is sleeping. It is the knower of the sleep condition of the mind, which is that Sakshi, the witness. So here we are talking about 3-fold limitations of space, time, and objects. So if you don't have these, if your intellect is able to learn to drop these 3 limitations, then you are ready to grasp that what can't be grasped by a normal intellect, the gross intellect cannot grasp it. But a subtle intellect, with the aid of the Shastric mantra, can see what your normal intellect cannot see. And what is the proof? Our rishis are the proof. Our gurus who have taught us, this is the way to go, this is the path to follow. Go in this direction, go in this direction. These are all the steps involved of making our mind from gross mind to subtle mind and see what is beyond the mind. Desha Paricheda means it is spatially limitless. If I am in Singapore, I am not in India. If I am in India, I am not in America. So that I which is in India is the body. But the body goes into unmanifest condition in sleep state. I don't see the body at all. So in that state, what is there? That consciousness, which is the substratum, which is the sakshi of this body, even in the waking state, is there. That sakshi is called as Brahman. This is how I go across the limitation of the body. One location excludes other locations, but consciousness is locationless. Next is Kaala Paricheda. These are very, very important points when you want to go and realize the truth. Kaala Paricheda means what? I say I am 100 years old, 50 years old, 30 years old. I give a window of existence from 53 to 2017. I was born in 86. Now it's 2022. This is a window of existence. But does it belong to the existence of the body, or does it belong to the existence of the consciousness, which is in the body? Consciousness doesn't have a birth. In that consciousness, the body has come, the body has gone. In consciousness, the waking state has come, the waking state has gone, and the sleep state has come. In that consciousness, the sleep state has gone, the dream state has come. In that consciousness, the dream state has gone, the waking state has come. All the three states are relative. They have time. Dream time is different than waking time. Sleeping time is different than waking time. You may say 8 hours I slept, but that is with reference to the waking world, not with reference to the sleep world. In the sleep state, your mind is not active. There's no concept of time. So you exclude past and future. What is existing is always the present. Now. That now, what you experience all the time, is called as Brahman. All the time. All the time. You see, Eckhart Tolle has written the book Now, The Power of Now, is from this concept of Brahman. Great Vedantin. When you read his books, you know that he has understood the truth from the Upanishads. Vastu Paricheda. See, a chair is not a table is not a chain is not a rock, but each one is different. A tree and a rock are different. Similarly, but is consciousness different? No. Consciousness remains the same. In all this, existence remains the same. Consciousness is the same in the animals, in the living beings. Okay, so this pure Brahman doesn't have object-wise limitation because it is formless. Every object which we see through our eyes is limited because it is vritti jnanam. The knowledge of Brahman is samanya jnanam. Samanya jnanam means it is knowledge of the reality. Pure existence, pure consciousness, and limitlessness. That is what is called as samanya jnanam. Sakshi Jnana. So, here 3 words are used. When you say Nityam, eternal, it removes time-wise limitation. Vibhum removes space-wise limitation. Sarvagatam removes space-wise limitation. Vibhum removes ness limitation. That means tableness, chairness, rockness. These are all the jati of the products. Ringness, chableness, goldness, woodness. This ness which we say in English, that because it possesses, it is the karanam for all the products, it is called as vibhum. Okay, so removing this ness is indicated by the word vibhum. The difference between vibhum and sarvagatam, you have to go a little bit deeper like this, like how I explained. Rama excludes Shiva. Rama is not Shiva. Vishnu excludes Shiva. Shiva-ness. So similarly, can we exclude from this Brahman anything? No. That is why it is called as Vibhum. It is the Sarva Karana. Ataha Parichedana Deshataha Na Kalata Api Nityatvat Vibhutvat Na Api Vastutaha. These are all explanations of what I said so far. Just a quick revision. Shaunaka asked the question, teach me one thing by which I can know everything in the universe. That question is being answered. The simple answer to the question is, know Brahman, you will know the entire universe. That is what we are studying now. That cause appears as chara and achara. Chara means movable, achara means immovable. Angiras is the teacher, Shaunaka is the student. So Shaunaka's question is being answered. We have seen the answer of that Karanam Brahma is Aksharam, is Nityam, is Adreshyam. It is all pervading, Vibhum, all that we have seen. It is Anantam, Desha Kala Vastu Ananta Brahma. Now the 15th verse. Even if this Brahman is all pervading, it is Sukshmam. It is very, very subtle. Because it is subtle, it cannot be perceived by the sense organs. Because sense organs can only perceive gross objects, gross sound, gross form, gross touch, gross smell. Therefore, this Brahman is infinitesimally small. It cannot be comprehended by a normal mind. The essence of this mantra is, it is Sukshma. It is very subtle. Therefore, your mind cannot grasp it. Mind can grasp all what sense organs can bring it to in front of the mind. Sense organs can only bring gross objects in front of the mind. That is the essence of this verse. It is the size of this Brahman is being discussed here. You see, sometimes they say Brahman is the smallest. Sometimes they say Brahman is the biggest. Both smallest and biggest, both mind cannot perceive. Because these are all concepts of the intellect. Intellect can only perceive what is gross. Subtle things, yes. Abstract things like love, it can perceive, it can understand. But Brahman is something which it can never understand on its own. But by using this mantra of the Upanishad, you can come to the reality. Akshara agocharataha. Imperceptible, therefore it is not cognizable. Na parinama alpataha. It is not smallest in dimension. It is not biggest in dimension. It is dimensionless. Sukshyam. It is sukshya means it is very, very subtle. Fine in nature. Finer than space. That is why it is called as Nirgunam. What is Brahman? Nirgunam. Nirgunam means what? No gunas. Sagunam means what? With gunas, with attributes. 16th verse. There are two more verses which describe the Mundak mantra. A pot which is which is held by a hand, but sound cannot be held by a hand. Why? Because subtle. Sound is subtler than pot. What about Brahman? Brahman is subtler than the sound also. Therefore, hastagraho pataha, the cloth which can be held in hand is tangible, gross, concrete. Dhwani, the sound is not concrete, but it is abstract. Concrete is cloth, world. That is what is Visishta Advaita. Visishta Advaita means a branch of Advaita which says that the world is only attributes. Attributed God alone exists. That is Visishta Advaita. Don't talk to me about Nirguna Bhagavan. That doesn't exist. That is Visishta Advaita. What is Advaitam? Beyond this form, there is a reality which is Brahman, which is abstract, but it exists. Swarupataya Sukshmyam. Name can be given according to different sizes, but when there is no dimension for Brahman, there is no name also possible. The 11th definition is given in the 17th mantra. Avyayam. Wealth is subject to decay. Today you may have wealth, tomorrow it may disappear. But Brahman, can it change? No, it is indecayable because it is very subtle in nature. Avyayam means it is not subject to depletion, degeneration. Body has got form. Because of form, it has got parts. If something has got parts, it can be seen. It can degenerate. My body, my knees, my hands, my legs, my all different organs, they can all degenerate because they're all parts of the body. It can have modification. Asti, jayate, vardate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. So money can be expended, it can go away. Anything in the world, a car has got different parts. It can wear and tear. Dhanasya vyayaha, money, body, are degraded. Asya na aksharam Brahma. But Brahma cannot be lost in time. It cannot be consumed by time. Why? Vikriyaye asambhava. There is no vikriya. Vikriya means modification. Modification less Brahman, therefore it is avyaya. There is no nasha possible. See, the most important thing which we must remember in this whole set of mantras, in the whole set of indicators, the 12 indicators is, the most important it is Brahma is Bhuta Yonim. It is the womb of the entire creation. All things and beings are called as Jagat, universe. The Yoni means the Upadana Karanam. The raw material behind this creation is Brahman. It is also the intelligent cause. It is the Nimitta Karanam. For both movable as well as non-movable things and beings. So, Upakrama and Upasamhara means in the beginning also we talk about the Lakshanam of Brahman. In the end also we talk of the Lakshanam of Brahman. Therefore, what they say is this Brahman, what we call it as immutable, which is not subject to change, that is what you wanted to know, Shaunaka, as the higher knowledge. This is how Vidyaranya summarizes the Mundaka Mantra. In the 18th verse of the 100 verses of Swami Vidyaranya, in this Aparoksha Anubhuti, he summarizes that one verse. And he says that Vastu Tattvam, the principle wise definition, which which the Upanishad calls it as Aksharam, is Jagat Karanam. It is eternal. And in the Bhagavad Gita, there are two verses which I put here. Etvaksharamanirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha kuthosthamachalam dhruvam. Kutasthaha. See, this is how Bhagavad Gita also takes the same descriptions of that reality, and the Lord Krishna, who is in the form. Lord Krishna is the form, but it is that Brahman which is teaching through the form of Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Oh Arjuna, don't look at me as this form Krishna, but look at that Kutastha. See the words he is using. Aksharam, Anirdeshyam, Avyaktam. Remember, meditate on these imperishable. What are the words used? Aksharam means imperishable. Anirdeshyam means indefinable. Avyaktam means unmanifest. Sarvatra means omnipresent. What you cannot think, achintyam. Achalam, it doesn't move. It is dhruvam, eternal. See, these are the words used in Bhagavad Gita. If you follow these words, you will find that the same words have been used in the Upanishad also, the one which we covered just now. So, Bhagavad Gita is taking the essence of the Upanishad and teaching us. Dvamimau purushau loke ksharascha eva cha ksharas sarvani bhutani Kutostokshara uchate. See, again the word akshara comes in Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, the 16th verse. Two purushas are there, perishable and imperishable. Perishable is what we see as the body. Imperishable is the unmanifest condition of the mind, Maya principle. That is imperishable. That is the unmanifest condition. But there is something called as Kutastha. Kutastha is the Adhishtanam Brahma. And that is also called as imperishable. So you're talking about two imperishable things. Number one, unmanifest condition of the universe. Number two, Brahman, which is unmanifest. The Brahman, which is unmanifest condition, is the ultimate truth. Kutastha is the ultimate truth. Kutastha is the same as Brahman. Tatu yaya vedyate. One who understands this aksharam, consciousness, not as a word, but in yourself. Understanding that word by word meaning of this description in your own self, when you do it, that is what is called as aparoksha jnanam. Direct experience of that reality in your own mind. This is what every seeker is seeking. Every seeker who comes, suppose you say, I want to learn Bhagavad Gita. This is the truth you want to learn. This is the ultimate destination. Sayam paravidya iti kritiyate. What does it mean? This is the paravidya, which you wanted to learn, Shaunaka. That is how the 18th verse summarizes the whole mantra of Upanishads. Okay, so very beautiful section by which you can see how Vidyaranya in his own style presents this one verse of Mundaka mantra, which is the mantra which is an indicator with 13 definitions of Brahman. Next, what he does is he comes to another section here. Now, this is a Purva Pakshi or a doubt. Now, in this section, which starts from 19, it is the third section of the presentation of Anubhuti Prakasha. I have given the chart right in the beginning. If you go back to the slide, you'll know. The immutable is the cause of the world. Now he has told us what is this akshara. Now in these verses from 19 to 30, Vidyaranya is going to say that this immutable Brahman, Aksharam Brahma, is the cause of the entire world. Very beautiful section. We're going to study this. And it covers this section till verse number 30. It covers the chapter 1. Still we are in chapter 1 of the original Upanishad. The section 1 of the Upanishad will be concluded in this third topic. Okay, for those who are looking at I've given you both the charts. What is the Upanishad mantras of the, how is it covered in these 100 verses? So, what does it say here? Brahman, suppose you say, okay, suppose you are a very intelligent person, the intelligent seeker, and you say, okay, Brahman cannot be the cause of the world on the ground that it is devoid of any external means. I don't see it. There cannot be the rise of various objects from a single sentient being. There cannot be the origination of an insentient world from a sentient being. See, this is a way, a style in which Vidyaranya presents the view of a doubt. How Aksharam can be used to describe the creation in total. Very beautiful. You see, look at the style. Yeah, this is the same style he follows in Panchadasi, which we are doing in Wednesday classes. See, in Wednesday classes, we are doing Panchadasi of the same author. And the beauty of Vidyaranya is he goes into the depth. The depth in which he goes, I have never seen any author of Vedanta going to such depths. So have you understood? I hope you have understood the question. The question is very simple. How can from one Brahman, the whole world of sentient and insentient, inert and sentient, be born? Whole manifold creation. I mean, you know the answer. The answer is what? Like that Urna Nabihi, like that spider example. You know the answer. Second example, dream example. How from one mind the whole dream, inert world in the dream and the sentient beings in the dream is created. Same way, there is a power, Maya Shakti is there. That is the simple answer. Let us now see how he is processing this. Up to verse number 30 is this question and answers. One cause, a human parent, can bring human children. A donkey can give birth to a baby donkey. Now, this is how the Purva Pakshi is thinking, the opponent. From one gold, you can have ornaments. But how come from one Brahman, the whole universe of different species be produced? That is the question. And what is the second question? If something has to be produced, the producer will require accessories. Many factors are required: material cost, instrumental cost, efficient cost. For production of pot, you need clay. For production of pot, you need potter. You also need the wheel by which that is the instrument, the toolkit. Where is all that for Brahman? The third question: how can Chaitanyam, sentient, be a producer of insentient universe? Achetanam karya. How can the sentient produce a stone, mountain? One produce chetanam, accessories are required, but how? Bhuta yonitvam na yuktam. This is very beautifully explained in Brahma Sutra. I think there's a second one, where Brahman is described as the Shastra Yonitvat. That is the Brahma Sutra. In Brahma Sutra, the same question is asked. So, what are the reasons, logical reasons and Shastric reason? What are they to explain this truth? No other accessories are required for Brahman. Aksharam is ekam. Ekasmat bhuri asambhavat. Many is not possible from that. One is the Purva Pakshi's question. That is what we are studying in this particular verse. This one mantra, which is that spider example, is being explained in all these verses. And that refutes all the three questions which the opponent is asking. The 20th verse talks about the spider example. Just as a spider creates the threads and draws them into itself without depending on any external factors, in the same way, the immutable Brahman causes the world without depending on any other external cause. See how beautifully Vidyaranya poses the question, gives the question a great depth, and then he says, this is the answer. He's taking the same Upanishad, but see how he's explaining. Upanishad gives the example of the spider. Okay, before we go to the spider example, let me tell you how I should understand this question and answer. In me, I am the Sakshi in this body. I am, you can call it Sakshi, you can call it Brahman. Two words are given, two terms. In this body, there is an ego I, which is the mind which is reflected because of consciousness. I'm using very specific terms. Pure consciousness is called as Brahman. That is what I am in truth. I see this body, I see the world in the waking state. I don't see the body as well as the world in the sleep state. The waking state is called as manifest condition of the world. Sleep state is called as the unmanifest condition of the world. See, don't go into the depth of the world and all that. Now only understand the broad picture. From that consciousness, the world comes into manifest. From that consciousness, the world goes back. Like the threads of a spider, they go out of its body to catch the insects. After the insects are caught, it pulls it back into its own self. Like the waker, which throws the dream world and pulls it back into himself on waking up. Similarly, this Brahman is the cause, one cause for the entire manifold universe. This is how I should accept. This is what is the essence of this mantra. Upanishad gives the example of the spider. Spider falls down, it touches the ground, it hangs in the middle, the thin thread connects the ceiling to the spider. How does the spider produce the thin silk without any material? The same way, consciousness Brahman, with the power of Maya Shakti, produces the whole world. It is just a power, that's all. For your intellect, you understand it as a power. Cotton can become thread. Thread can become the cloth. Sankalpa matrena, that's very, very important. Sankalpa means it is the one thought. Let me produce the world. That is what the Lord thought when he produced the world. Anyway, here, the spider is the Srishti Karanam, Sthiti Karanam, Laya Karanam. It is the Srishti means it is the creator, it is the maintainer, Sthiti, and it is the resolver. Similarly, Brahman, there is one consciousness, that is the real nature. I am that pure consciousness in which the whole world comes and goes. If I know that I am that consciousness, will you be bothered about the small problems which you face and all that? It is all, it is like that dream. It is like the whole waking world is like that dream. It is, you just experience it, but know the truth. That's all. Srijate samharate api. Srijate is creation. Samharate means resolution. Is it with a gap? Is it a step-by-step process? No. It is instantaneous, like the dream. How do you experience the world? Instantaneously, you wake up and you see the world. How do you see the dream world? Instantaneously, you go to sleep, immediately the mind throws the whole dream world. Similarly, is this Brahman. It has that power. Aksharam syapi hetuta. Aksharam Brahman has the power, which is called as Maya Shakti. I will finish, I'll take one more verse and then I'll close for the day. Just as the manifold medicinal plants from the earth, from one earth, so many different plants are produced. So many herbs are produced. From one sentient human being, hairs grow in the body. Similarly, in the same way, from one immutable Brahman, the whole sentient and insentient can arise. So the three questions which the Purva Pakshi is asking, Vidyaranya is answering in his own way. Spider has no accessories. Aksharam also doesn't have accessories. If spider can produce, Brahman can produce. How does one variety of product come from one earth? So many herbs, so many variety of plant can come. Similarly, from that Brahman, so many human beings, products, limbs can come. Bahu aushadaya. Plants and medicinal herbs, there are many in variety. Different tastes are there in plants and leaves. Neem leaves are different than the mango leaves. Aushadha, like several seeds are there. But all of them are nurtured by which? By whom? One earth. See, one earth principle can produce sweet mango. It can produce sour things also. Chili also comes. Spicy also comes. It is one earth. So, from one Brahman, we can have variety. What about the inert and sentient? He gives the example of the human body. From the human body, you can produce a child, which is a sentient being. At the same time, the human body also produces the hair in your head, which is achetanam. Why? That is why you can go and cut your hair. It is achetanam. It is inert. The hair will not feel it. So similarly, Brahmanaha, the whole world can come. We'll start with the 22nd verse next week. And if you have any questions, I've taken quite a lot of in-depth material on Mundaka Upanishad in these mantras. Next week, I will start with the 22nd mantra. We'll close for the day. And then if you have any questions, you can ask. Om Purnamadat Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay. I'll go to the chat box. Okay. Brahman is not grasped by the sense organ, but known through the Shruti Pramanam. I'm having a doubt that we are using sense organ indirectly to know Brahman by reading, hearing Shruti, but at the end we realize Brahman through Shruti. Is this understand? Yeah, okay. Okay, what the essence of this question from Manikandan is, what is the source for Brahman? That is the question he is asking. Is the Shruti the source of Brahman, or is it the sense organs the source of Brahman? Is it my mind? Is it the sense organs? It is not the source of Brahman. The ultimate source is Shruti. Shruti means what? Upanishad. Upanishad tells me there exists one entity, one reality, which is called as Brahman. That Brahman is your essence. Whether it is Preeti, whether it is Ganesh, whether it is Sumana, whether it is Murali, these are all different names. But names are given to the body. Body is born, but consciousness is not born. The light in which you see this body is that I. The source for that I is only one source. It is Shruti. It is the Veda. Anybody who doesn't study the Veda will not know the subject, I. Everybody will know that they are the body. That is natural. It is not the subject. It is an object for interactions. But to know the real subject is to know the real truth. So I hope, Manikandan, I have answered your question. It's very clear.
Sir,
go ahead, Manikandan.
Yeah, since you told Shruti is, I also know that Shruti is the only source, but the Shruti is read or hear the sense organ. In that sense, are we realizing the Brahman indirectly through the sense organ? Even though Shruti is there, but we need to have the sense organs to hear or read.
Okay, good. You're a thinking individual. Good, very good. See, the Shruti is there, but you need the ears to hear the Shruti. So indirectly, we can say my ears are the cause of knowing the truth. I agree with you. But what is that which reveals? Can we say it is the ears which reveal? No. Ear is an instrument. Can we say the Shruti can reveal itself? No. So ears together with the Shruti is the cause for my understanding. For this individual mind to understand that there is that pure Brahman, I have to hear the Shruti. But hearing is Shravanam. It is through the ears, I agree. It's a good question. It's a very deep question. So the instrument for the knowledge to gain that knowledge is the ears. That is an immediate upadhi. It is an immediate medium. But without the Shruti, the ear, for example, hears so many things about the world. It sees BBC, it sees CNN, it sees All India Radio, it sees so many things. It cannot know that reality. Therefore, even though ears are required to hear the Shruti, still we say the primary source is Shruti. The secondary source is your ears. You see, that is why the jiva in Triputi, in the waking state of the individual jiva only, the jiva comes to know about that consciousness. So the human mind is also required. The ears by themselves cannot understand. So there are several secondary factors, accessories which are used, but the primary factor is Shruti. Even logic is a secondary factor. Logic, Sankhya Nyaya, Yoga, all those philosophers, they take logic as the primary philosophy and they take Shruti as a secondary. Therefore, Shankaracharya says you can never have moksha because you don't use Shruti as the primary. Very important point in Vedanta. Don't look for any other source for God. The Veda reveals God to us and tells us the nature of that God and your nature happens to be the same, which is revealed by the Shruti. And therefore, knowing your own nature, you will know that God. This is the ultimate success of a spiritual student who comes to the Upanishads to see God. That is why I keep on saying about that Jignasu Bhakta. A Bhakta is a very great achievement. If you are a Bhakta, it's a very big achievement in life. You have done a lot of punyam to become a Bhakta, to know God. And then to know the truth of that God, to realize what is a Jignasu Bhakta. Jignasu Bhakta is a very simple sadhu person. That person wants to say, oh God, you are the cause. If you are the cause of this whole jagat, you are the cause of my body also. Therefore, in this body also, I should be able to see you. How can I see you in this body? That is the seeker's question. And the moment the seeker has this question, he will never leave the Upanishad. Never. It will never go from his life because he is woken up from that avidya, ignorance, which has been troubling him for lives together. This is how Upanishads describe a jiva. Jiva, it says that jiva has been sleeping to his real nature for lives together. Through some punyam, he has come and said, okay, let me understand the Upanishad. And then, you see, it is like a spark. This spark in the intellect will make one day glow like the entire fire which is there. A spark is only a representation of that fire principle. So through the spark of the knowledge principle, you will know the swarupam of that knowledge. Good question. I'm able to go so deep into this. Okay.
Thank you.
How do you difference between understanding by senses and realization? Okay, transcending all. That's correct. So Preeti, basically use the Shruti to transcend your mind. Okay, because that is the only thing which is available. You drop your mind and you drop your intellect. Tell your intellect, don't ask too many questions. Let me just go back to the Shruti. And what is the Shruti telling me? Shruti is telling me you are consciousness principle. Let me have full faith and accept I am pure consciousness. Let me again and again remember this truth in me. That's all. Let the life go on. Life will go on. You see, life is in the Bhagavad Gita, very simply, Lord Krishna describes the whole life. He says that there is inside your body, there is a Paramatma principle, inner controller. That inner controller is he will take care of this life of yours. Happy moments will come, sad moments might come. These are all a play of the human mind. That human mind is controlled. Its inner controller of the human mind is the karma phala data. Karma phala data is expressed as the thoughts in your mind. As per the thoughts in your mind, you have actions. As per your actions, you have the fruit of action, either sukham or dukkham. This cycle, nobody can stop. That is the law of karma. So focus on the study of the Upanishads, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasnam. I am that pure Brahman, pure consciousness, Aksharam, Nityam. These are all very powerful words now, because I have understood the Mundaka Upanishad. Such a great detail. Swami Vidyaranya has spent time and energy behind explaining to us each word by word. And what is the connection between formless and how it is imperishable? All that I have understood. Only I have to only remember the truth. That's all. Remember again and again. This remembrance will make that nishtha firm in my intellect. There is no other place to look for God except in your own intellect. That Sakshi Bhava is the God in you. Okay. Shruti is Anathi, whereas Jiva is Anathi, hence Shruti is primary. So, okay, fine. You can analyze in different ways. It's basically, Shruti is Nitya. It is always there. And it will never go. So many lives have gone. But has the Shruti gone? No. Shruti still remains. There will be somebody who will be talking of this Brahman at some point. In every yuga, there will be people who will be talking of this pure reality. It will never go. Veda has been there for ages, thousands of years. How are we studying this? Because of the parampara. Okay, any other questions? A direct question from anybody?
Yes, Shekharji, I have requested you if you could talk a little bit more about now, the time essence, beyond time essence of Brahman. Yeah.
Actually, you are asking the wrong person. Eckhart Tolle is the right person. Okay, see, now time is a very beautiful concept. The best definition of time I have got is from the Veda, which says time is a principle where that consciousness and matter, they come together. Pure consciousness is not time. Matter by itself is time, is inert. There is no feeling, nothing of matter. In matter, there is no time. In consciousness also, there is no time. But when they join, time is born. Time is born the time when my mind wakes up. In sleep, there is no time. In sleep, I am as good as a stone. So there is no time. In Atma, Upanishad tells me it is timeless. It is beyond time. What about the future and the past? Future and the past. Let's look at the past. Only when the mind is functioning, it will think of the past, it will think of the future. Past and future are only mind's projections. It is the Vikshepa Shakti of that mind. It is only a mind's projection, the past as well as the future. You are sitting down in a beach. You don't want to think about anything in life. You want to just remain peaceful with your own self. But the mind will not allow you to sit in peace. The mind will start projecting either the past or it will project the future. Both these are only projections of the human mind, which is Maya Shakti. So time is nothing but it is Maya Shakti. It is the Shakti in this body. Like you have a Shakti to listen. I have a Shakti to speak. It is a power. In the whole cosmos, this power exists. So time is only when the mind is there. For you, the time is when your mind is awake. For me, the time is when my mind is awake. So what is time? Time is a concept of the intellect. When that pure consciousness joins the matter principle or gets reflected in the matter principle. The principle of now is perfection, is pure consciousness getting reflected in the mind, and the mind is not projected. That is what is called as now. The definition of now is pure consciousness getting reflected in a sattvic buddhi. A sattvic buddhi does not project anything. The moment it projects, it becomes rajasic. That is either future or past. But the now is pure sattva reflecting that consciousness. That is why they say, try to remain in the now all the time. The moment you take your mind to the past, you're going to achieve nothing. You cannot change the past. The moment you're projecting the future, it is unknown. It is Maya Shakti. You're only projecting, it's like the dream. It is Manorajyam. In Panchadasi, we're going to study this as Jiva Shrishti. We are going to spend almost 69 verses in Panchadasi, fourth chapter. We have just started last week to understand this concept of time. Manorajyam, it is only, fascination, imagination. This is going to happen, that's going to happen. This happened, that happened. I felt so sad. It's all Manorajyam. Jiva Shrishti. Jiva Shrishti is only bondage. Don't live in bondage with your projections. Live in the now. Live all the time. What can I do now? What can I do now? Now is the time which is real. Is real means I can do something. I can study the Upanishad and understand the reality. That is what is the power. At any time when you are with the now, you are in complete control of yourself. Total control of your mind. So our projecting mind is not what we want. We want a power, and that power of now is like the power of the atom bomb. It's so much, it's so energetic. And that is, see, in this power of now, you can realize the truth of that Brahman. What a fascinating reflection of the truth is this now. So what your question is a very beautiful question. Keep contemplating on this and you will reach the highest what a human intellect can go up to. Upanishads are the only source for the human intellect to go from the rajasic and tamasic nature to climb to the level of sattva, not only go up to the sattvic stage, but to drop the sattvic stage and realize what is the cause of this whole universe. That is the height of what the Upanishads can take us. And it's brilliant. It is something amazing. This is something, it is something which words cannot describe, because once you are in touch with that reality, it tells you that that is what is life. And you will never forget it. It is so powerful. Thank you. Okay, good question. Any other question? Yeah, Amar, go ahead.
Shikharji.
Yeah.
And once again, it's just so beautiful the way, I think you've done it much, much better than Eckhart Tolle on the now principle. And I wish someday you would take the time alone as a, almost like as a separate session, you know, whenever it happens. But it will be brilliant because, and I never thought that it is actually, is a component of Maya Shakti.
Yes.
You know, yes. I used to think Maya Shakti creates a perceptual error and a thought error, but to think that actually it is interwoven in time, it's so beautiful, really, really. So I'm just so delighted about this explanation. So that's the first thing, and I must thank Preeti for raising that question. My own reflections, which while the class was, you were doing the class, was, so it appears that as if there is, at various different levels in our mind, we have the subject-object principle. For example, the mind is the subject for the senses. Yes?
Yeah, Drigdeshya Viveka.
Yeah, so that is the subject. And as we move further inwards, then it is the buddhi itself will be the subject for the mind, and further on the Atman. So that ultimately, obviously, it is the light of the Atman itself. Can I also think of the mind as the only mirror, which will be a double surface reflection? So one surface of it is reflecting the Jagat, the whole of the world is coming inside our mind on one side of this mirror. And on the other side, we have got this reflection of the Chaitanya.
Yes, you're right. It's a well thought out. It's a good explanation for that mirror. Yes.
Yes, it's like a double reflection, which is so beautiful to think of it.
Yes, that's a good.
And the moment that this, especially the inner reflection, is, if we take out all the vrittis, which are constantly, the mind is like a factory, it is generating like a rapid speed. The moment all that has been brought to the stillness, then we just literally have only as a default, it's only the Atman reflection on that, isn't it?
Yes, you're right. Correct.
On the Satwika mirror.
Yeah.
The second, so thank you for that. Second point is the, you know, you were referring to the Vedic logic.
Yes.
Yeah. Of the Karya Karanam logic, or it's like the bhedam between the difference between the Karya and Karanam. It is so useful, perhaps also to make a logical analysis in our everyday thought process. You know, I've seen something, I've met somebody, and so if there is a thought, a residual thought which is happening in my mind, residual thought or a feeling, I can always trace it back to, how did I think this? How did it happen? Isn't it? Yes. We can apply the same principle. Yes. Logical. Is it what the other person has said that actually I'm thinking like this? Or is it something that my own mind was projecting and therefore I didn't quite understand it properly? So using the same logic for the analysis of ordinary thought process.
Yeah, but here you should remember that whenever you are trying to analyze the mind, you should know that it is the Sakshi. It is a Sakshi, which in the light of Sakshi only this analysis is going on inside.
Yeah.
And there is no other outside, objects which are coming in. It is only the Sakshi and the mind which is now interacting.
Yeah. No, I was only relating it into our normal
our normal, you're right.
relationship errors. We have errors in our relationships. What I thought was very good, I never could understand that could be so very wrong as it appears to the other person. Yet when I think about it, I realized, no, that person thought the way that person is thinking, which was right in that other person's analysis.
That's correct.
But to me, it appears different. So you can use the same cause and effect relationship. Yeah.
Yes. So he is reacted as per his vasanas. I am reacting as per my vasanas. So the friction comes only because the vasanas are different. That's all.
Yeah, but I can't correct the other person's. But what I can correct. But what I can correct is my own, isn't it?
Yeah, you can correct by only showing the other person the your logic. That's all.
Yeah, but I can definitely correct and analyze it, my own reaction, isn't it? In the terms of how did I think? Why did I think?
Yeah. You see, correcting yourself is easier.
Yeah, that's what I meant. No, I wouldn't bother about correcting someone else.
When you are, this is how you should analyze when you are trying to correct somebody.
Yeah.
Don't put your likes and dislikes and your reasoning in front of him. Don't do that.
Correct.
What you should do is you should tell him, you have your views, I have my views. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let us look at it objectively. Objectively, what is happening?
That also, if the other person is ready to think of it objectively.
Yes.
If the other person doesn't want.
If it doesn't want it, then it's very difficult. You see,
which quite often happens.
Which is 99%, it happens like that. You see, each one wants to prove that the other person is wrong and he is right.
For the same situation.
In the same situation, this is what is called as jalpa, where each one wants to say that the other person is wrong. But sometimes that person himself doesn't have an answer also.
Correct.
You see, but his only motive is to prove you wrong.
Okay. My final...
In a situation like that, what you should do is tell him very clearly, if your objective is only to prove me wrong, then I cannot help. If your objective is to find the common ground between your view and my view, then we can both come and get into a dialogue.
Yeah. I think by and large, really, that's my own understanding of how people tend to behave is each person is wishing to be in his or her own ego integrity. So in order to maintain the ego integrity, any thought or any idea which is not comfortable to the ego integrity, you want to dispute that. For no other reason, So I think this is just very human.
It's a natural. You see, it's
natural human.
Yeah. Natural. It is human. That is the way the world has been created.
Yeah, and that's why it should be ignored. Really.
Yes.
So
ignore it. You see, you help the other person if you can.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just leave it.
Okay. Yeah. Now the very last one I wanted to think about is. And this is since last week, it's been in my mind, how to attain a Satwika mind. Yeah. So which is the final frontier. You have ourselves explained that we are constantly evolving from the Tamasika, Rajasika to the Satwika mind. So in order to reach there, I mean, we do know we have been given the guidance of the dharmic living. Yeah. So that helps regularly to reference our daily actions into, did it fit in with the dharmic living or not? The guidance by the... So that
is the first level of trying to correct.
Yeah.
Living a dharmic life, a religious life of faith in the scriptures or faith.
Yeah.
Okay, dharmic is okay. Whether you believe in God or not, live dharma.
Yeah. And the other one, I think I would like to just think of it, which is really much more of a conventional terminology we will use, is rational ethical living, or you can say dharmic. It's probably the same.
Yeah, it is the same.
Yeah. Rational only is that in any given situation, you're actually questioning it. So whether, was this a rational thought?
Yes.
Or was it coming from my own vasanas, likes and dislike? And the last, really, we are left only with the upasana, dhyana, worship, puja, dhyana, all the the teaching which we have had from Bhagavad Gita, so, and that really, there is no other way that we can actually improve our Satwika living.
Yes, definitely the teaching, karma yoga, upasana yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, these are all the sadhanas which Bhagavad Gita teaches for our growth, for our mental growth. See, our mental growth is the most important thing when we come to the Upanishad study. So when we are talking of this mental growth, these preliminary things, these preliminary sadhanas which you have mentioned are of a great value. To make the mind sattvic is not easy. It's not easy. It is going against the nature of Prakriti, which has created the mind. You see, you are using the Shastra to fight Maya Shakti. So it is the Maya and the
battle.
Is the battle which you are as a jiva are trying to settle terms between both.
Sura.
Yeah, so the mind is awake the whole day. The moment you wake up, it is awake, and then it has its own tantrums. It will tell you, run there, go after these things. It will give you happiness. It will give you joy. Go. So you will run. But when you run, if you are able to catch it and say, come on, why are you running so fast? Happiness doesn't exist in the objects. It is my own reflection of happiness, which is manifesting in the objects. Very, very beautiful concept in Taittiriya Upanishad. Very beautiful. It's an amazing analysis of Shankaracharya and Taittiriya. Where is happiness? Is it in the object? Is it in the person? Or is it in you? If you study Taittiriya Upanishad, if you find that answer, it is a great, great understanding, and it can transform life. You see, complete transformation of life.
How would you actually ascertain whether, say, to any given problem, when you're looking problem solving a solution, that your mind has given you the honest appraisal rather than when you're not favoring your own mind versus the other person's mind. So you're being very, very honest and objective, because the mind attribution of error is always to the other person. No,
yes,
I am always right.
Yes, you see, when your mind is without any agitation, after you have taken the decision, after you have analyzed, your mind is accepted. That is what is the sign of an objective solution rather than a subjective confusion.
Correct. If I say that I can, if most of the time I can forgive myself and forgive others in any given situation, would that be nearly quite close to Satwika?
Yes, it is a very Sattvic mind. If you can forget and forgive others, it is a sign of a Sattvic mind, and it says errors do happen in life. I accept the errors and I move on.
Correct. Yeah.
You move on. You see, don't see the most problematic area for all of us is we keep on trying to go through our own guilt again and again and again. It is the fever in the mind. that fever in the mind has to be cut off. And you see that repetitive behavior of the mind to go back and criticize ourselves and look at our own mind and says, you did something wrong. You did something wrong. That habit has to change. It must change, and that will come the more you grow in spirituality. That is a sign of growth. It is a sign of progress. It is a sign of a leap in the mental health of a person.
Correct. Yeah. No, I can already see that benefit.
To whoever you meet, if they are having this problem of not forgiving the other person, explain to them that if you don't forgive, let go. Tell in, and the best way I have heard from different Swamijis of how to forgive, you see, is you close your eyes, bring that person in front of your mind and say, I forgive Sita. She said this to me. I forgive her. Say deliberately in your mind, ask the other person also to repeat the same thing, and then you will see at the subconscious level, it happens.
Yeah. And in a logical way, really, what else can you do? You know, because something that has happened has happened.
Yeah.
So you can't go backwards in time. So it's so ridiculous, really, in some ways. Yeah. Thank you so much, Shekharji. You ever so patient. Thank you.
Anybody else has any other questions? Okay, was a very nice session. Thank you very much. And we'll continue next week on this beautiful beautiful reflection of Vidyaranya. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
हरिओम.
हरिओम. कैसा है बाबू भाई? कैसा है?
चलता है ऐसे गाड़ी.
Okay. Any questions from your side?
No. More listening than I think there's anything.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Hariom.
Hariom. Thank you, Sumana.
Thought she wanted to say something. Doesn't matter. Thank you. Good night, Shekharji.
Good night.